Me being involved in conspiracy theories and truthing theory, um, under the Truthing Act. Yeah, wanting to talk to family members and friends about this interesting things I thought I was revealing about the world, how it's not really the way it is. It can be equals lonely, and it wasn't until I did found some groups um, that were under the same act, had some like minds and theories, that I started to feel not alone. So, because it is something to be said about how you can be in such a big world or have a big family, yet you feel alone, right? You're so close but so far. So it says that's why group therapy or support groups can make a big difference. They offer you the opportunity of talking about what you're going through with people who understand what you're dealing with because they are dealing with it too, or they experienced similar feelings in the past. So, yeah, so traditionally, group support took place in person at therapy practices, mental health clinics, community centers, or hospitals. Yeah, you literally had to find the date and the time it was going and see if that rocked with your schedule. You had to make sure you had the clean clothes to go, right? You had gas in your car, right? But increasingly, groups are moving online. There you go. Now, I'm not gonna say like there's not great value in being with a licensed psychologist or psychiatrist, in order to get your, be the facilitator for your group therapy, for sure. It's like when you sit by a psychiatrist on an airplane, um and talking about your life like a normally you would do on the plane. Is everything that psychiatrist says to you literally advice, psychiatric advice? Maybe, but probably not. It can be just, you know, what they call old man, old woman knowledge about life too. Right. And this is what we're doing here on online in these groups, I think. So don't now that's not like literally group therapy in the clinical sense, but I think there might be some parallels. Let me know. And I don't mean it in a bad way. At first I probably did. I was like, you fuckers you're using this StreamYard as a damn therapy session, man. But look, at little did I know, I'm probably doing the same thing. Yeah. Yeah, group therapy is a great way to get docs and spied on for sure, but so is being in this chat in a sense. I mean, if you don't put yourself out there, how the hell are you gonna come past some of these blockages? I get it. Like there's a lot of manipulation everywhere for sure. But if we're constantly um on guard completely, there's never an opening to heal that trauma, right? Yeah. NPC the game. What's going on? Leopard Print, good to see you. NPC Leopard Print. Uncle Fatty, I Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your host Gabriel, NBC Live. Tonight's a very special podcast. Scorpio energy and love and business and creativity, and how to transform like a legend. You're all a legend. Let me see the legends in the chat. What's going on, Markella? Good to see you. Good to see you, Lady Luck. Always a pleasure, my friend. Got my two friends here, Markella and Lady Luck. Got the Ninja Watchers. And hit the roll call. Hit the roll call. This is classes in session. Let me know if you're there, who you are. What's going on, Benjamin? This channel is for you and your cultural excellence. Level up, do with it as you will, laugh, let's get after it. You're Scorpio rising, Benjamin, and that's something that is basic as hell, man. Fierce. The rising sign, it's not actually is how the world sees you, or how you view your sun sign. If your sun sign is Taurus, it is you view your Taurus character in the game of life in the style of a Scorpio, rising. And a lot of times, that's what people see by your rising sign. You know. And in turn, that's how you see yourself. It isn't until you're a little older, like your dad, who's 47 right now. He was 40 when he had you. He was 7 on June 7th, 2025, Saturday. Until you get a little older, when you start maybe identifying more with your sun sign, even though that's before. Your rising sign is how we learn about our life. How the world sees you. How the world sees you. So, everybody that's watching the replay or watching it live, donations are always welcome. So welcome back to the stream, Soul Divers and Cosmic Detectives. And if you were with us last time, you know we cracked open the Scorpio vault of emotional alchemy, right? The battle of the water signs. But tonight we're taking it even deeper. Let's go deeper. You're a Virgo rising, okay? Virgo rising, Aries. You're an Aries sun, so you do your Aries as in the style of Virgo. You do your Aries charging ahead courageously. Being blunt in the way you communicate towards the truth. You do the Aries, but you do it in the style of Virgo, in a very analytical way. Pick it apart, like the engineers of the zodiac are the Virgos. Yeah, and I would say with this astrology thing, which is just your personality decoded and recognizing patterns that can serve you, I would if you're a Virgo rising, I would look to the opposite sign polarization of Pisces, the opposite of Virgo, to get even more balance and clarity about how you do your Aries in the style of Virgo. Because while Virgo is very analytical, Pisces, it looks at the minute picture, the nuance. The Pisces looks at the bigger picture. So sometimes it's good to zoom out when you're doing that delicate work to see where you're at. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, Markella. Buy me a coffee right there. There it is. Boom. Boom. I'm glad you're here, class. Thank you there. Because, I mean, we're learning stuff as we go along. Learning and having a good time. So yeah, so like I said, we're going deeper and deeper on the Scorpio chamber. And because Benjamin, Scorpio energy isn't just about mystery and mood swings, it's about powerful transformation and love, business, and creativity. So as you get older, if you ever want to attract deeper relationships, not just superficial ones, but meaningful, deep ones, if you ever wanted to level up in business through strategy and intuition, or you know, as you get older, this happens, or Markella and Layla can tell you, you can turn your pain into pure artistic gold. And if you're listening, Benjamin, in your culture of excellence, this dream is your treasure map to it. So let's dive in. Let's dive in. Now, earlier that was a broadcast about the panel verse I had in the archives where I was talking about um, how these panels that we're doing on YouTube can be seen as a form of group therapy. So that was a good segue into this because talking to people is a good way to get your traumas out, your fears and your worries out. But it shouldn't just be used for that. It should also be used for good things as well, positive things. Talking about um, positive things that you're doing, and if you choose to share with people, if they're lucky enough to hear it, the beautiful things you're working on. You know, so Scorpio, Benjamin, energy and love. Um, it really can you can love use that energy to love at a deep level, the soul level, right? Beyond your personality. We're dealing with astrology, which is just your persona, your person, your mask. But what's beyond the persona? Your soul. And the soul and love can tie, be bonded together, or it can trap. You can trap souls together. You know? Yeah. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. Yeah. You guys heard it. You know. Uh, so Scorpio really is the zodiac love alchemist. And this isn't just casual dating energy. It's about ride or die. Merging souls, the urge to merge. In the Scorpios, we see you naked on every level of love, right? We see you naked on every level of love. And some of these couples that we're about to look at throughout the past, um, in history, are some of the most famous couples in history that saw each other naked on every level. Tell me what you think in the chat about this.
Ending bitter when you were 12.
Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most famous couples in history.
I have only one master.
Take this down.
My love for you.
For this list, we're looking at the most iconic couples who have ruled the past several centuries. If we missed any of your favorite top duos, let us know in the comments below. Number 10, John F. and Jacqueline Kennedy. This is the couple that turned the presidency into a true matter of celebrity. When John F. Kennedy was elected to the presidency in 1960, he and his wife Jackie quickly became one of the most talked about first couples in history. Jacqueline Kennedy was seen as a fashion icon during her husband's ascendancy, and together, the two of them brought media attention to the more personal sides of themselves that politics hadn't seen much of before. Between John's numerous alleged affairs and Jackie's front-facing love of fashion, art, and culture, people couldn't get enough. Add in their
power couple, man.
Tragic ending, and it's no wonder they went down in history.
That night and every night since I prayed to die. Oh God, let me be with my husband.
Number 9, Queen.
Yeah, the Kennedys, man, it's a power exchange. Very scorpionic energy. And that's a relationship that you could have with somebody, Ben, when you get older. Status, under the Capricorn lit 10th house status, right? How the world sees you. And yeah, power couple. In a sense, you mean your mom and I, we played that lit for a while. We probably will play it again. But yeah, but just make sure though, if you are two powerful beings together, you do have some type of love there, and then an intense love or loyalty to each other, and you can share your emotional truth with each other too.
Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom was not the only English monarch to resist marriage, but she was one of the notable monarchs to truly marry for love.
Let's take a little tour together and visit Scotland. I hear if any part of Britain is like Germany, it's the Highlands of Scotland.
Yes, we must one day.
The Queen reigned from 1837 until her death in 1901. She met Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha in 1836, and although she liked him, she felt she was too young to marry. That would all change 4 years later in 1840, when the couple was finally wed.
And marry you.
And marry me.
The night after their wedding, Victoria wrote exuberant words of love and affection for her new husband in her diary. Their partnership continued until Prince Albert's death in 1861. After the love of her life died, Victoria wore black for the rest of her life.
That's loyalty. That's not surface level love, right?
So sorry. I thought I was going to lose you.
Number 8. Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo.
Now, under the artist chamber, transformation through art, Benjamin, is a big thing. Yeah. I remember before I met your mom, there was someone I used to date, and she was an artist, and I was just coming into my own as an artist. And I remember she told me, she was like, "You're an artist, man. What are you doing? You need to do more of this art, this medium that you use with your camera and editing." I was like, damn, nobody ever called me an artist before, especially a beautiful woman, a muse, right? And that kind of just took me to the trajectory I am now, which I love art. I took my passion for sports and being an athlete, and I just transformed it into that being an artist and just going full tilt with it.
Just because a couple gets married does not mean their relationship is a conventional one. Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera, for instance, were anything but conventional.
Diego, you can't lose. Forget about artistic integrity. You've done better ones than this, and you'll do more.
The famous Mexican painters first married in 1929. Throughout the rest of their tumultuous romance, they would both engage in infidelity multiple times.
That model, huh?
Yes. It was just a that's all.
And even divorced 10 years in.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend messing around like that. If you really want to be with somebody else, just cut your relationship and go your separate ways. That's why you got to make sure. That's why marriage is good, because it makes you really look at what you value. Is it worth it?
Into their marriage, only to get remarried a year later. Things were not easy for the artists. Rivera had a terrible temper and once even cheated on Kahlo with her younger sister Christina. When the couple did remarry, however...
What? Did you say that she cheated on her with her younger sister?
Later, things were not easy for the artists. Rivera had a terrible temper and once even cheated on Kahlo with her younger sister Christina.
Oh, he cheated with her. That's pretty foul. You know, that's pretty foul. To cheat with the younger sister. Let's go. Shadow Buddha in the house, the Mogger, the man, the myth, the legend, and my
nigga.
Yeah, in the building. Marcellus says, I agree, NBC. Believe before you cheat. I don't believe in cheating. Yeah, it's messy business. It's a messy. Give it up to Shadow Buddha. Shadow Buddha in the building. Yeah.
When the couple did remarry, however, they stayed together until Kahlo's death in 1954 and were some of the country's most famous figures.
Comrades, colleagues, and friends forever.
Number 7. Napoleon Bonaparte and Joséphine de Beauharnais.
Perhaps you would like to dance with me?
I would like to try.
Up until she met Napoleon Bonaparte, most knew the soon-to-be Empress Joséphine as Rose or Marie Rose. She only became Joséphine de Beauharnais after marrying her first husband, Alexandre de Beauharnais. After Alexandre's passing, she would marry Bonaparte 2 years later in 1796. Napoleon was deeply infatuated with Josephine, but evidence of her feelings for him is rather conflicting, and she almost immediately began an affair after their marriage.
Yeah, once again, that's nasty work, man. No matter how you much you love somebody, especially maybe Ben, maybe if somebody else like a another sign that's more free loving, like a Pisces or Aquarius or something. Well, maybe not Aquarius, they're fixed. But like Scorpio, being a Scorpio or rising like you are, I would not suggest until you don't do it even like be with somebody in an open relationship or when you find out they're cheating and stuff, because let them go, because man, as a Scorpio, we want total loyalty, you know?
You're the loveliest woman here. Do you know that? You don't even have the advantage of being naked.
This enraged her in an affair after their marriage.
You were the loveliest woman here. Do you know that? You don't even have the advantage of being naked.
This enraged her husband and prompted him to engage in an affair of his own. After years of back and forth and with no heir in sight, Napoleon and Josephine divorced in 1810.
You are impetuous.
Impatient.
Do you want to be my lover?
Forever.
Then Barras would have his way. Barras the procurer. And I would feel like a pawn. Or worse.
Number 6.
Yeah, in that relationship too, which we saw in the writer Ridley Scott's Napoleon, which was great, with Joaquin Phoenix and was it Kate in that? It was a power move similar to the Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, and Jacqueline Kennedy. Onassis Kennedy, that was a power move. You know, her artistic beauty and just graceful way looked great in the American landscape of how, you know, TV was becoming a medium that everyone had, and they looked like the all-American family, especially with their children, John and his sister. Like it was they look good. That was a power couple. Now this Napoleon was a power couple too, because Josephine, she had the connections and the aristocrats. I think this was during the Jacobin Revolution in France. So Napoleon had the ambition and she had the connections. So it made for a great power couple, right? It made for a great power couple.
Shah Jahan and Mumtaz Mahal. Imagine loving someone so much.
Then Barras would have his way. Barras the procurer. And I would feel like a pawn. Or worse.
Number 6. Shah Jahan and Mumtaz Mahal. Imagine loving.
Yeah, being dishonest is betraying something really hurt to the core, especially if you're a Scorpio. After JFK died, Jacqueline married some billionaire. Yeah, Onassis, that's who it was. Right. He did. She did. She know another form of a power couple. This is a beautiful story.
Someone so much, you build a giant ivory mausoleum to be their final resting place. Well, meet Shah Jahan and his chief consort Mumtaz Mahal. Second name sounds familiar to you? It should. Mahal was Jahan's favorite wife, and after Mahal died during childbirth, Jahan had the famous Taj Mahal built as her final resting place. Although Jahan had other wives, he reportedly showed the most affection to Mahal.
Maybe it's because, you know, when you have a deep love for someone, it's not a surface level love. You want to know. It's not enough just to know your birth chart or your playlist or your you want to know your secrets and your fears, man, of your partner and their wounds. If you're loving at a Scorpio level, you know, you want to know it all. You want to know it all. You want total coverage.
तो मेरी तुरबत यहीं बनाइएगा।
ऐसा न कहो बानो। यहाँ हमारी मोहब्बत की यादगार एक ऐसा महल बनेगा जिसकी मिसाल सारी दुनिया में न होगी।
They had a whopping 14 children together, and when Jahan died, he was buried next to her in the Taj Mahal.
14 children.
Number 5. Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir. Here's a marriage of the minds. Simone de Beauvoir is perhaps best known for her dissertation, The Second Sex.
Now, Simone de Beauvoir, she's the second wave feminist archetype, who is interesting enough. Like I think she was forced into a arranged marriage when she was younger. She was a rebel, free spirit under the Aquarius Act, and she didn't want that, right? And she rebelled, and and so thus feminism, modern feminism, was born.
Number 5, Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir. Here's a marriage of the mind.
How's it going, Wheels? Yeah, this is very important to all you social dynamic, sexual dynamic folks, red pill, black pill, blue pill people. Listen to this.
Simone de Beauvoir is perhaps best known for her dissertation, The Second Sex, while
The mother of modern second wave feminism.
Jean-Paul Sartre was an important voice in the existentialist movement. But you might not know that these two philosophers had an open relationship with one another from 1929 until Sartre's death in 1980.
Interesting that the mother of modern feminism had an open relationship. Do we see these tendencies in the modern woman or in the modern relationship? Yeah, Benjamin, you're going to do what you want to do. I respect that, but this is just your dear old dad saying, do not get in with anyone that's promoting an open relationship. Don't do it. Don't do it. Nasty work. Physically, get to some disease. Energetically, get caught up with somebody else's issues that your partner is having sex with and loving, even mentally, even those mental relationships people have where they're spilling their guts on with the opposite sex while they're with a man, right? You know what I'm saying?
Je pense qu'aimer, ça n'est pas vouloir posséder, en effet. Je pense qu'aimer, c'est vouloir créer avec un autre être des liens qui ne sont pas des liens de possession, au sens où on possède, je sais pas moi, les vêtements qu'on porte ou...
Shout out to Resto, who's a member of the NPC game. He said, Will said, we can't all be Resto pestos, laugh out loud. Yeah, I mean, he's under the Sagittarius lit sun sign. I don't know his whole chart, but I can see how they would be more with open relationship. They like to travel far distances and like keep it light, sometimes, even though they're deep philosophers. So, but a Scorpio, no, we don't we don't do that. Scorpio, Aries, Taurus.
When the two began seeing each other, they agreed that their relationship would be about connecting their souls more than anything else.
Mais ma relation avec Sartre était telle que tout de même sur une base plus
it's intellectual. I could see that too, because on the highest level, for sure, I guess that doesn't matter as much on the higher levels of the spirit. However, we're living in 3D bodies that are very carnal.
Intellectuel que précisément institutionnel, familial ou quoi que ce soit.
They were not exclusive and allowed each other.
Hey, Mel got a Mel Pandora. She got a gifted membership. Awesome. Mel Pandora in the cuts. I love you, fam.
To take other lovers, but something always drew them back to one another. And allowed each other to take other lovers, but something always drew them back to one
like that style, man.
Another. They shared their work, and you can sometimes spot bits of one in the writings of the other.
Pas dans l'existentialisme sartrien.
Power couple. Existentialism, right? This is what we deal here at the Stormy Weather Existential Detective Agency, aka NPC the Game Live. Existential, where are you right now? How are you functioning and dealing with this thing we call life?
Dans l'existentialisme de M. Gabriel Marcel, oui. Mais dans l'existentialisme de Sartre, tel qu'il est défini dans L'être et le néant, tel qu'il va l'être dans le prochain ouvrage que Sartre va donner incessamment chez Gallimard, qui s'appelle Critique de la raison dialectique.
Number 4. And
I have their book right here, right in front of me. Yep. This book actually. A transatlantic love affair between these two. Simone de Beauvoir. Yes. very important thinkers. Even though I don't agree with myself or my kin having that type of lifestyle, I think they're amazing thinkers. Definitely, because I mean, whether you agree with it or not, the postmodern world we live in, these two had um, a big contribution to the world we're living in today.
Anne Boleyn and King Henry VIII.
Her Majesty expects me.
Later.
The Tudors, that was a good show.
Who was that, Your Majesty?
While Anne Boleyn wasn't the first of King Henry VIII's wives, and nor would she be the last, she is probably the most influential and most known today.
I've dreamt of this moment a long time. You must know I desire you with all my heart.
The king met Anne Boleyn when he was still married to Catherine of Aragon and was taken with her immediately. Anne would not sleep with him while he was still married, so Henry literally changed the religious course of an entire nation so he could get divorced. Things
Guess what? We got the Church of England.
didn't end well for Anne Boleyn, who was eventually accused of adultery, treason, and incest, and beheaded as
Incest.
the result.
Fetch my sword!
Let her kid. I assume that's her son or something.
Her daughter, Elizabeth I, went on to be arguably the country's most famous
Daughter.
monarch. Number 3, John
Markella with a comment. Ryan BC, betrayal is hard to come back from. The trust is not going to be there anymore. It's not. People just dwell in it. They just sit in it. I've seen it with my loved ones and stuff, good friends. They get back with their partner, and the partner can never get over it.
John Keats and Fanny Braun. John Keats has written some of the most romantic poems in history.
Yeah, Keats is a legend.
But his life was tragically cut short when he died of tuberculosis at 25. There was one
Super young.
woman who was left more distraught at his loss than most, and that
A motherfuckers barely get out the house at 37. John Keats is making poetries that rock the world.
was Fanny Braun.
Mama! I can't breathe.
Keats and Braun fell in love when they were tenants in the same house. They wanted to marry, but circumstance kept them apart. As a struggling poet who wasn't
That's pretty.
recognized for his talents while he was alive, Keats had nothing to offer her. He did, however, write Braun numerous love letters that are some of the most romantic words you will ever read.
I have two luxuries to brood over in my walks. Your loveliness and the hour of my death.
After his death, Braun stayed in mourning for 6 years.
If poetry does not come as naturally as leaves to a tree, then it had better not come at all.
Number 2, Marie
Interesting. We got to get into Cleats. I read some of the other authors I like where they referenced him. Get into the love chamber under the Venus lit. Venus is how you love, how you want to be loved.
and Pierre Curie. This partnership
Marie Curie.
was radioactive, if we do say so ourselves. Marie Curie was a trailblazing scientist in the fields of physics and chemistry, and the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. Her husband
Yeah, Wheels. We get to get into this in a later stream about how Cleats. You're right. He wasn't recognized until after his death. There's something to be said about people who weren't recognized until later in their life. Like I was watching about Christoph Waltz. If you don't know if you're familiar with Quentin Tarantino movies, and just to give you a heads up, that's a good segue. Clue Studios and I are going to be doing a stream. We're going to be doing a stream tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Hateful Eight and Django Revisited. Was Candy really the good guy? Yeah, that's one of the things we'll be talking about. And the other thing about Christoph Waltz, he played in Inglourious Bastards. He played the multilingual Nazi Gestapo captain, Major. And when he got that role, that was when he basically was introduced to the world, even though he had been an actor for 30 years in Germany and Austria doing different roles and stuff like that, but they didn't take him seriously. And it wasn't until Quentin Tarantino casted him in the perfect role for him as that charismatic and ruthless and evil Gestapo soldier, and he ended up getting nominated for Academy Award, and as well as same thing was his next movie Django, where he played Dr. Schultz, the dentist slash abolitionist slash assassin that trained Django, Jamie Foxx. He got nominated and won the Academy Award for Django as well. And it wasn't until 30 years working hard that he got his recognition. And I think that's awesome. That's a very that's a sign, Benjamin, to never give up if you love something, especially if you're good at it. And just know that sooner or later the correct opportunity will come where you can really shine, and your skills will be showcased, right? Because a lot of times we're kind of like a cylinder peg that's trying to fit into a square box when we're trying to make content too. But it's not until you find that cylinder shape where you can slide in there and you can be at home with what you're good at, and I love stories like that when people come into their own. We love the overnight success, but I also like the thing about a lot of times overnight successes aren't even overnight successes. It's just that the person's been plugging away so long, but you never even knew about them before. That's the deal on that. Yeah, we're gonna do that with Clue tomorrow. It's gonna be awesome. All our notebooks and journals are locked in a lid box. Too much radioactivity. They won't be able to open it for 500 years. Wow. NPC the game. Anyone buy you a drink yet? No, nobody bought me a drink. Yeah. Yeah. Guy. Yeah, I mean, everyone here is already like donated and they're cool with their time. But yeah, anyone that's new, leave a donation. It's like leaving $1 on the YouTube thing. Even if you don't want to leave the site, you see someone playing the violin at the train station, you're gonna give them $1, right? Play it forward. You should know. It's good motivation. Now back to these Scorpio as a love under the Love Act, under loyalty, emotional truth, and power exchanges. This is what we're doing here, Benjamin, with in terms of using your Scorpio energy to find a good, loving partner.
Husband Pierre was also her partner in all matters science and research.
But you're a scientist of some renown.
Well, and I'm asking you to share my renowned, yet basic space with me.
Marie would accomplish yet another impressive feat when the pair became the first married couple to win a Nobel Prize. Although things started off rocky between them, as Marie was Pierre's
pretty awesome
student and did not return his advances at first, things turned out
oh, okay, that's how it was.
Out for the best, and the two ended up having a long marriage.
Watch out for that, Benjamin. If you're a mentor to somebody, getting romantic with them.
No one said to me that he could.
I mean, in a sense, as a husband, you are a mentor to your wife, in a sense, too. And to keep it 100, I mean, she mentors you on certain things too.
Imagine life without me. And I never said anything back.
Their partnership, both professional and personal, was by all accounts.
Wait, what'd she say?
Without me.
Up having a long marriage.
Pierre once said to me that he couldn't imagine life without me. And I never said anything back.
Yeah,
I mean, that's under the Scorpio chamber. That would probably hurt your feelings. If you said something deep like that, like, I can't imagine living without you, and the person says nothing back. Yeah, that's pretty bold. I mean, that's something that you might do to your enemy or your ops. Hold silence under the Machiavelli chamber. Hold silence in order to make tension. But you don't do that with your lover, especially when they're professing their deep love for you.
Their partnership, both professional and personal, was by all accounts a happy one, characterized by mutual respect, collaboration, and a shared passion for scientific discovery.
Thank you, Markella.
I do look at you in a certain way. And sometimes I have the feeling you look at me the same way back.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions. Juan and Eva Perón. Don't cry for them.
Power couple.
Argentina. Gertrude Stein and Alice B. Toklas, the lovers of the Parisian avant-garde.
It is a little difficult to read with the car bouncing up and down. Shall I
Those two women. Okay.
down?
Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier III. Princess was her role of
Ooh, hot. The Nicole Kidman. Okay. I like Grace Kelly.
a lifetime.
Louis XIV failed to take Monaco. Napoleon failed to take Monaco. De Gaulle will fail to take Monaco. No matter what happens here tonight, stop drinking. You need to keep your wits about you.
John Lennon.
Yeah, man, that's good advice from Princess Grace. Don't be drinking if you have to take the mic or give some like a social speech. It's not a good look. Trust me, I've been there, so you don't have to go there.
And Yoko Ono, a creative partnership that overtook everything.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, their love affair kind of, they say, broke up the Beatles, but obviously there probably was some tension there already. A lot of people don't like Yoko, but obviously for John, that was his muse.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice day.
F. Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald, a free-spirited literary couple for the ages.
Darling, you're too sensitive.
You like my story, but he hates me.
Please, old sport, you make matters extremely difficult.
I'm jumpy. Suddenly, I don't like the atmosphere here anymore.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get
Possible that you become even more beautiful?
and switch on notifications. Number 1, Cleopatra and Mark Antony.
Yep, Nicole Kidman,
Almost
that's
3
right.
years. Is it possible that you become
With
even
Australia.
more beautiful?
Almost 3. That long? Time has passed so quickly.
While Cleopatra had a couple of love affairs that could end up on this list, including one with Julius Caesar himself, nothing beats her love story with Mark Antony. The two had previously met while Cleopatra was still romantically involved with...
Interesting. Yeah. So a lot of us will be like, for realism, we're like, the Egyptians did not look like Europeans like this. But if you can, don't give into the astonishment of that ridiculous casting, you can learn a lot from this movie. It's pretty epic, right? Look at the story. Look at the quintessential, the myths and the themes on this power couple.
Caesar, but 10 years later, she would wow Mark Antony with a grand entrance that would win his heart.
From the first instant I saw you, entering Rome on that monstrous stone beast, shining in the sun like a little gold toy. Oh, I envied Caesar.
Unfortunately, political struggles and war would ultimately ruin them. Complications led Cleopatra to fake her death, causing Mark Antony to actually bring about his own demise. Broken-hearted, Cleopatra would soon follow in his steps.
Now will begin a dream of my own, which will never end.
That's right, you're looking at the original Romeo and Juliet. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this.
Yeah, I mean, not bad. Yeah, so this is what we're doing here is a Scorpio energy in love, business, and creativity, and how to transform your life like a legend, Ben and friends. And like that was under the love segment, right? How to use the Scorpio energy. And these are those are all lessons for anyone using the Scorpio energy in love. But we want to go deep, right? That's what the Scorpio energy helps us with. But don't confuse depth with drama. You can have a soul deep intimacy without self-destruction. Panel verse. You just have to build with it. And you got to have boundaries, Ben. People get lost if you're in themselves if you don't have boundaries. And honestly, you got to have honestly. Be honest, because in this day and age of people just skimming things and having like these superficial relationships, if you really want to get deep with somebody and see how deep is your love, shout out to the Bee Gees, the Australian national treasures, the Bee Gees. Honestly, to have honesty, especially about your fears and insecurities. That's gonna go very far in strengthening the bond of your relationship. Um, and this is the key for this love is to have emotional maturity, but not manipulation. Because as a Scorpio rising, Ben, you have the power to manipulate like a puppet master. However, don't do that. Use emotional maturity and master your emotions so you can have a deep bond with your partner who you love. Because Scorpio love it's like diving into the ocean. It's beautiful, terrifying, but it's healing. And if you're brave enough, you're gonna find your LTR, your long-term partner, right? And some people might be seeing too much for them. You see this right now. You have a lot of love to give with your friends, even, and sometimes maybe they can't take it. So this is where the emotional maturity comes in, knowing how to calibrate that, right? And calibrate that and whatnot, and use it the best way you know how. So that was like the first segment. Scorpio love energy in business. I mean, in love. We're gonna go in the business chamber. We're gonna go into the business chamber right now. Yeah. Let me get this ready for you. Have a quick reset. This is back to the Panelverse archive footage. Panelverse as therapy. A point where this is like the universe is sped up. God, we're on the quickening time right now, 2025. I don't got time to hear all that. Maybe, yeah, drop your little nugget for sure, but then relate it to what's really going on in your life, because it makes for a much more interesting conversation too, and experience for growth. Leopard print Dominic always comes through with the insight. Absolutely. Rolling 777 used to work for Hollywood has a comment. Online NLP, neuro linguistic programming, Sam. Mormon, take care. Oh man, wish you didn't have to go.
See my dad, watch the news. Allow the manipulation.
Like woe is me to be so above everyone intellectually and spiritually. That's tomorrow, the spiritual elitism show broadcast. Even physically, huh? They show you on camera. But it's so hard for me, you know. It's like the pretty girl. Wow, my life is so hard being beautiful, right? And I bet it is. There's more money, more problems for sure. So coping, use that as a cope. Using those as a cope. However, the prevalence of trolling and memes may also discourage people from opening up, and relationships that are built online, especially those with micro celebrity streamers. Yeah, this is like all the people. Yeah. So anyway, let's get in the. If you ever want to go back to that episode, Panelverse as therapy, group therapy. That's it right there. But stay here with me right now. We're on segment 2. Yeah. Which is Scorpio energy in business and the strategies that go along with that. The Scorpio in business is basically the strategist power move, right? And because money talks, man, and like Richard Price said, and bullshit walks. Let's talk about money and moves and Scorpio in business. Scorpio in business is ruthless but not reckless. And Ben, I want you to think of your Scorpio rising energy. Think of the Scorpio entrepreneur, as the silent shark in the water. And we'll go over this in depth. I'm going to need you to strategize when it comes to business, because money is a medium we use to get our desires taken care of. I want you to study the market and read people's motives and play the long game. And this is a powerful CEO energy that you're going to be walking with wherever you go. And I want you to remember to use your scorpionic energy in business. And it's part of it is to know when to speak and when to observe. And you can see this when you watch these archives of your dad talking to his friends and foes on these broadcasts, learning how to learn from my mistakes and my successes. And when you be like, hey, Dad, maybe you should have, right there, you should have like been silent and listened. Maybe you should have spoke up there. So I want you to get to know, be familiar with knowing when to speak and when to observe. And trust your gut, Ben, not just the hype. Don't jump on the bandwagon. Trust your instinct. That's your gut. Some of us think that there's a second brain in your stomach, right? That's your gut, your instinct. And let your moves be felt, not announced. Right? You don't have to let everybody know all your strategies and whatnot, right? I mean, they'll know soon enough. They'll feel it. You know how many times your dad's been in some of these panels and in a room physically when I walk in and say something or don't even say nothing and people shut the hell up. And the big one, Ben, is the Scorpio. We don't chase people. Us Scorpios, we magnetize, right? People come to us, right? Yeah. So in terms of being this strategist and dwelling with observing the sharks, let me tell you, I think this is fun. Some of the most successful businesses in Shark Tank. Shark Tank is the show where people pitch their ideas to investors, and they want to offer their company as a percentage to them.
Since 2009, Shark Tank has been giving entrepreneurs the chance to get their products in front of some of the savviest.
Hey, thank you, Wicked. Appreciate you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
And toughest investors in the world. They include businessman Kevin O'Leary, investor and columnist Barbara Corcoran, businessman and motivational speaker Damon John, and theater chain and sports team owner Mark Cuban. As you might expect, they've invested in some ideas over the years that have gone on to make their inventors and the sharks a truckload of money. Here are the 10 most successful. Lonnie Lazzari was only 18 when she made her debut on the show in 2013, but she had already been honing her craft for almost 5 years. She began developing her simple sugars, facial scrubs with no harsh chemicals or artificial ingredients when
Simple sugars, okay.
She was only 11, and by 13, she turned it into an online business. She had already grossed $50,000 in sales when she threw her simple sugars into the Shark Tank and received a big bite from investor Mark Cuban. He gave the small business a shot in the arm to the tune of $100,000 in exchange for 33% equity in the company. Lonnie would need the cash to
33%. That's not
help her expand quickly, as sales of her products nearly quadrupled the first day after her appearance on the show. Her concept for all-natural facial scrubs has since grown from a small online operation to a national retail presence with over 500 locations, doing $3 million in yearly revenue. She's also a presence with over 500 locations. Grown from a small online operation to a national retail presence with over 500 locations, doing
500 locations. Ben, 500 locations. She started when she was 11. Think about what you can do at 7.
$3 million in yearly revenue. She's also greatly expanded her product line and partnered with retailer Destination Maternity to produce a line of products for expectant moms. Inventor Rick Hopper took a dramatic spill in front of the judges while making his entrance in season 3, but it was all
I hope that's fake.
part of his plan. He was demonstrating how his product, which he called the Ready Rest, could securely fasten the wearer's eyeglasses or sunglasses to any part of their body without the risk of damage. The demonstration worked perfectly, and he pitched the Ready Rest as inexpensive and easy to market. Investor Lori Greiner, known as the Queen of QVC, agreed. She thought that the product would resonate with viewers of her home shopping network, and even went so far as to say that she was uniquely positioned to make Hopper a millionaire. For a whopping 65% of the company, she agreed to invest $150,000 and to feature the product on QVC. Her prediction turned out to be right, as the Ready Rest sells like hotcakes on the network to this day. Since Hopper's appearance on the show in 2012, his company has posted sales totaling over $8 million.
Wow.
Not only did Greiner make good on her promise to make Hopper $1 million several times over, it's safe to say that being 2/3 owner of a profitable company that sells its products on her network has probably worked out pretty well for her also.
I mean, that lady's smart. Just getting a network, having your own home shopping network.
Children's products have traditionally not fared very well in the show, but one notable exception is the Lollicup, invented by the husband and wife team of Mark and Hannah Lim. Inspired by their 9-month-old daughter, it was designed to be an improvement on a regular sippy cup for toddlers, with a spill-proof design and a straw that's designed to capture every single drop.
Okay.
The product was also intended to be easy for any child to use and was BPA-free. Mark Cuban and Canadian investor Robert Herjavec bid on the idea, offering $100,000 in exchange for 40% equity. Before their appearance on the show, the small business had been struggling, with fewer than 50 accounts, but that has since grown to over 650, including giant retail chain Walmart.
You get Walmart, that's a big deal. You go to Bentonville and negotiate. That's the headquarters of Walmart. Your distribution deal with them, that's when you're doing great.
The Lollicup has racked up over $1 million in sales, making it by far the most successful children's product to be featured on the show.
It came out of necessity too for their kids.
Lims have had 2 more children since their appearance, and apparently they're still looking to their little ones for inspiration. Their company introduced a fun and functional glass baby bottle in 2015. Mother and daughter duo Danielle Villaggi and Tracy Noonan hit the show on season 4 with an interesting culinary creation, gourmet cupcakes in a jar that are shipped to their customers, calling them Wicked Good Cupcakes.
Must be from New England.
They had gotten the idea as an interesting way to take their local bakery nationwide. They knew the presentation was going their way when every one of the judges barely managed to get muffled compliments out of their mouth while scarfing the sample cupcakes they were given. While they were offering 20% of their company in exchange for $75,000, investor Kevin O'Leary had a different idea. He agreed to provide the cash in exchange for a royalty arrangement instead. He would receive $1 per cupcake until he broke even on his investment, and then 50 cents per cupcake thereafter. It turned out to be a great arrangement all around, as sales of Wicked Good Cupcakes have grown to almost $5 million annually.
$5 million? Wow. That sounds good though, like cupcake in a jar.
Since their Shark Tank appearance. It doesn't take a lot of math to figure out that O'Leary has made an absolute killing from his initial $75,000 investment, and Danielle and Tracy have gone from a small struggling operation to a multi-million-dollar brand. Travis Perry was a music teacher who had a stroke of inspiration as he was trying to teach his...
What's happening? Necessity, yeah. Necessity is the mother of all invention for sure. Definitely. They use those sippy cups out of necessity, and they're making millions of it. What's up, Chopper? Chopper Jeff. No Max Extreme today. This is just using Scorpio energy, that brutal energy of like just cutting out what you don't need and getting to the brass tacks of things. We already looked at the love, how to use it in love relationships. Now we're looking at that business, and we're using Shark Tank as an example of people who studied the market, researched the motivations of why their customers may need their product, and in turn they became powerful CEOs. Right, so let's keep getting after it. Might learn something.
His young daughter to play the guitar. He created a device that attaches to a guitar's neck and has colored tabs that help beginners learn the right finger placement for chords. Always the most difficult part for any guitar student to get the hang of. The youngster learned how to play so quickly that Perry knew he could make a ton of money if he could just get it in front of the right people. Of course, that led him to Shark Tank.
Okay, a way to teach necessity. Trying to teach his daughter how to play.
Impressed by his story and the $150,000 in sales he had achieved so far, Robert Herjavec made a deal to put up a hefty $175,000 in exchange for 20% equity in the company. Perry was able to help his cause significantly by securing John Rich of the country music duo Big and Rich as a spokesperson for the product, and that, combined with his TV appearance and influx of investor cash, was more than enough to set the company up for success. Cord Buddy's annual sales are now topping $2 million. In Season 5, 1031 Productions owner Melissa Carbone also found herself in front of a shark who was in a unique position to help her company succeed. The company holds live-action, horror-themed Halloween events that make your standard haunted house look like a soothing daydream by comparison. At the time of her appearance on the show, Melissa was confined by her company's budget to only operating in her home state of California. But with his deep pockets and multiple holdings in live entertainment, Mark Cuban turned that situation around in a hurry. Cuban gave Melissa the richest offer ever extended on Shark Tank to that time, an eye-popping $2 million for 20% of the company. Of course, he was also able to secure her a ticket distribution contract with Live Nation, virtually guaranteeing that his investment would see a healthy return. The TV
it's connections, baby.
appearance has helped 1031 Productions to over 400,000 paying customers, and their projected revenue grew to $3 million in 2014 and $5 million in 2015. The gigantic investment appears to slowly but surely be paying off. Season 5 saw more than one huge payday. Inventor Charles Yim secured $650,000 in funding to market his breathometer, a portable breathalyzer that featured a plug that enabled it to connect to any smartphone. It's easy to see the potential for saving lives and property, and no fewer than 5 of Shark Tank's investors decided to jump on the opportunity. Cuban, John, Greiner, O'Leary, and Herjavec all went in on funding for a 30% share of the company. Yim has made a number of smart business moves since his appearance on the show. He managed to secure an additional $2 million in funding from other sources and partnered with...
So you can go drink and hey, I'm able to drive. That kind of gives you peace of mind. Yeah.
The Cleveland Clinic and the design firm behind the Fitbit Force to help him nail down the right design for the life-saving product. His latest designs are Bluetooth enabled.
That is nifty. Wicked.
And more accurate than the version shown on Shark Tank, and also feature a built-in app to help users call an Uber or a cab for a safe ride home. The company's sales...
Oh, that's dope. That's dope.
Sales grew to $10 million by 2014, the last year for which sales figures are available, and were projected to double to $20 million by 2015.
Tipsy Elves.
Makers of the finest ugly Christmas sweaters around, Tipsy Elves was founded in 2011 by Evan Mendelsohn and Rick Morton. The online enterprise was doing fairly well by the time the duo brought their product to the Shark Tank in December of 2015. Their online enterprise alone had brought in close to $1 million in only 2 years, and that figure was enough for Herjavec to want a piece of the ugly pie. He invested
under the Hipster Act
$100,000 to help the company move into the retail market. O'Leary also made an offer, but his was royalty-based, while Herjavec was willing to take a small 10% interest in the company. Sales immediately took off after their appearance, and the company was also helped by a feature appearance on the 2015 comedy film The Night Before, starring Seth Rogen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Anthony Mackie. The Christmas-themed movie's producers made a deal with the company to license a mass production of an ugly sweater worn by Rogen in the film. Tipsy Elves was projected to make $2 million from the exposure, according to TMZ, and ended up making $390,000 off the deal on the opening weekend alone. Herjavec would later disclose that the deal was the most successful he had ever made during his time on the show. The company made $7 million in 2014.
Yo, that's ugly.
And was projected to double that the next year.
I mean, I was just saying. So you can't imagine wearing a sweater at Christmas? Don't drink and drive.
Another husband and wife team struck gold with an idea for a web-based photo service in Season 3. Brian and Julie Whiteman came up with Groovebook, a service that lets users curate up to 100 photos per month from their smartphone, which are collected into a bound physical photo book and mailed to them monthly. The photos are high-resolution, glossy prints, perforated for easy removal and standard size for framing. The innovative idea was pounced on by Cuban and O'Leary, who provided $150,000 in capital for 80% of the licensing profits. The service gained 50,000 subscribers after the broadcast, and would have been a wise investment even if that had been the end of the story. But in November 2014, Groovebook was purchased by web-based photo giant Shutterfly for an amazing $14.5 million, with the Whitemans entitled to an earnout based on future performance. This makes Groovebook the first company featured on Shark Tank to be purchased by a public company, and the app has now been downloaded well over 1 million times. When Aaron Krause stepped into the tank in Season 4 to pitch the Scrub Daddy, he did it with style. His presentation reminded the investors of the classical infomercial pitchman, and his product was as ingenious as it was simple. A smiley-shaped, lemon-scented sponge that is much more durable and hygienic than the average sponge. Also, it softens up in warm water and toughens up in cold water, making it the perfect sponge for any application. While Krause had struggled to reach the $100,000 mark in sales, he also found his perfect match in QVC queen Lori Greiner. She instantly saw the potential for her network and made a deal to fund the venture to the tune of $200,000 in exchange for a 20% stake. To say that it paid off would be the understatement of the century. In addition to becoming a staple on QVC, Scrub Daddy can now be found in major retailers like Bed Bath & Beyond and Walmart, and Krause has moved an astounding 10 million units since he first made his pitch. Thanks to Shark Tank, the mighty little sponge has gone from a struggling businessman's uphill battle to a nationwide favorite household product that has raked in over $50 million.
Yeah. Not bad. Oh yeah, and by the way, this is last time I was in America. Like, this is how old that was. Look how small Ben. We had these ugly Christmas sweater family. Ben's is cool. My wife got this. I got that. What was this? Oh yeah, this is actually at the Golden Gate Bridge, close by there in San Francisco. But before that, we got those sweaters, my wife and I, in Brooklyn when we were in Brooklyn earlier in the month at this awesome secondhand store. I like that sweater though. I think I can rock that. I like that one. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Oh shit! Thanks. You like that? That's a good picture, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. See, and that's on Christmas. We have our ugly sweater. Interesting enough, I think we went to have Indian food that night. Very American, cosmopolitan Christmas. Yeah. Yeah, those sweaters are pretty popular during the holiday. Yeah, they are. Yeah. Yeah. I actually like that green, man. Under the Aquarius Act. Being eccentric. Shout out to Rebecca's feeling better too, so that's good. She's a sweetheart. So yeah, so under the look at this Boys in the Hood. Under the Boys in the Hood, we were watching that last night. Good movie, great movie. Furious, the father, telling you about gentrification in the hood. Yep, that is a great movie, really good movie. There's good shit. Yeah. Chopper Jeff. Chopper Jeff. I was like, what the hell are you talking about, bro? Like, he said his cat got it. He's a fan of Boys in the Hood. That's so funny. Yeah. Chopper Jeff in the house. Yeah. What is he? It's like the Nine Ninja or something like that. Ahim's the Oracle Alexander Boys in the Hood. It's a really good movie, huh? Yeah, Ben, that's a good movie, man. That's one of the reasons why I don't want to live in America, is because you would have to deal with that. Not only the police, what do they call it, profiling and brutality, but also the gang violence. Um, yeah, and it's not just in the hood anymore; it's in the suburbs too. You know, people trying to prove themselves, and in a sense, being a gangster is actually very feminine, unbalanced femininity, right? Not being secure in your manhood, so you have to feel like you have to prove yourself by being violent. It's a fucking good movie though. Talk about like premarital sex too. Nia Long's character with the Catholic. She went to Catholic school. Yes, there are black Catholics, and she didn't want to give it up, and so it was. This is a good movie. I love that movie. And then Furious as a father raising his son after his marriage broke up with his wife, and he ended up raising his son in the hood. Yeah, yeah. Fridays are good too. A day. That's a life in a day in the hood, or a day in the life in the hood. It's a good one. So yeah. So yeah. Under the so to reset. Scorpio energy and love and business and creativity. That was under. We already did the love. We already did the business. Uh, in the business one, Benjamin, if you're building a brand or negotiating a deal, or even managing people under the Scorpio lit, use your intuition like a compass, I would say, and use emotional intelligence like a sword, and protect your secrets like a vault. Because as you know, as you're getting to know, Scorpio energy equals influence, not noise. You know, your actions speak volumes. Your actions speak volumes, my friend. So that segment, that was the third segment. I think we're gonna move on. A second segment. I think we're gonna move on to the third segment. Yeah, if that's all right with you. If that's all right with you. In this third segment, we're going to go over Scorpio energy in the creative transformation. In terms of creative transformation, I'm thinking about the Phoenix rising, which is the third stage of the Scorpio. The first is this terrestrial scorpion, still on the ground, learning about what it means to navigate this world lowly on the ground. The second stage of Scorpio is the eagle who has gotten some perspective on life and is soaring high in the air, getting the bigger picture of what's really going on, and sometimes flying with its eagle brothers and sisters who are going the same way, and they use each other energy to glide through the air, right? But sometimes, as an eagle, your hubris can get so high that you almost touch the sky, and then you fall down, and you crash and burn, and sometimes you hit rock bottom, Benjamin. And it's not till you hit rock bottom until you are able to completely realize that what you were doing was wrong, and you need to reassess things, and you know that you're 100% dissatisfied by the way things are going, and that when you have that mindset, you brings about real change, and real change is the phoenix being born from the ashes into something great and new. And we can see this creative energy in the Scorpio. It's almost like a rebirth energy, and it's like the poet who writes after they get their heart broken, or it's the dancer who transforms their grief into movement, and the musician who turns their trauma into a hit record. And Scorpio definitely rules the shadow. And so if Scorpio rules the shadow, what do y'all think in the chat? What does that mean for art, for your art? Huh? Could it be your wounds become your canvas? It could, right? What's going on, man? Is it Max Extremes here or something? Yeah. You're stalking Snow. What's up, man? Good evening. Well, yeah, Snow is not here. That lovely Tookus is not here. Yeah. She's not here at the moment. Uh, yeah, keep it civil in the chat, Max. We're doing some messages to Benjamin right now. As like you kind of you inspired me when you gave those good messages to him about how to what what to look out for in the coming years here on this place called Earth. And so right now we're under the Scorpio as in terms of creativity, huh? And what to tap into. I wonder what some of these artists were about to look at. What they were tapping into when they were making these iconic paintings. Let's check it out.
For the following
Under that.
For this list, we've looked at the most famous paintings in the world. Of course, art is
The Louvre. Ben, you got to get out there. We'll probably take you there, and your mom and dad will take you there. This pyramid, this glass pyramid, was actually constructed by a Taiwanese architect. Architect.
is a very subjective subject. So we've ranked our entries based upon the recognizability and global reputation of each piece. We've also limited these to individual.
Yeah, it's great. Picasso is great. I'm going all over the place. Let me see real quick. I saw him yesterday. Picasso. He was putting together this painting that was pretty cool. Scorpio. Yeah, under the Scorpio lit. Back to the iconic paintings. So I wonder if, like I said, some of these artists use their pain in order to come up with some of the stuff. That's Picasso's last self-portrait right there, by the way.
Pieces, so any smaller parts of a larger whole are not up for consideration. Number 10, The Kiss, Gustav Klimt. Painted between 1908 and 1909.
Oh, this guy right here, man. It's also interesting things about him. He loved his cats, and he would just let them piss and shit all over his art pieces in his studio. Yeah.
The Kiss is Gustav Klimt at the height of his golden period, so called because of his tendency to use the color.
Gold, because a lot of time there's pee from the cats.
Combination of oil paint and gold leaf. The effect is a striking Art Nouveau intimate image that retains its modernity today. A man and woman locked in an embrace. The couple may be the center of attention, but the colors are the painting's emotion. The lines between luxury and decadence are blurred, as are the barriers between love and lust. Number 9,
Debauchery. Venus and Scorpio in the Aleister Crowley tarot card.
Persistence of Memory, Salvador Dali.
I know you've seen this
It's
one.
1931, and Dali has struck surrealist perfection with The Persistence of Memory. The melting clocks
Look at that surrealism.
and desolate beach have been burned into the modern subconscious, making this one of the most recognizable paintings ever created. It could be an exploration of the fixed or unfixed cosmic order. It might be Einstein's theory of relativity seen through the bristles of a brushstroke. It may be, as Dali himself has suggested, the surrealist perception of a soft cheese melting beneath the sun's rays.
Soft cheese, huh? LSD.
Whatever it is, it's a famous and memorable pop culture staple, and it deserves to be.
We had that picture in the bully house when I was living with my friend and his wife, and about 2 bull mastiffs and 3 pit bulls. We call it the bully house. I had that painting in my room. A replica, of course.
Number 8, Girl with a Pearl Earring.
Yeah, Dali was a Taurus. Good knowledge. And yeah, so he definitely has the scorpionic tendencies, because if you're a Taurus, you definitely have that polarization of Scorpio shining through in a lot of what you do.
Johannes Vermeer. Granted, our next entry's recent claims to fame have been greatly enhanced.
Oh yeah, and the one thing about someone like Dali, you can see under the Scorpio lit um how a lot of times they use unpopular truths, and it conveys some type of emotion that's very honest. And that goes back to what we're talking about Scorpio and love. How to, if you really want to get a deep relationship with your partner, get into, use honesty as a way to pull back the layers to see how someone really is. You can gently find out, like, each other's insecurities and hopes and dreams, and go from there.
Enhanced by a best-selling Tracy Chevalier novel and a Scarlett Johansson film adaptation. However, Vermeer's Girl with a Pearl Earring had caught the eye long before she'd been made into a movie. The eponymous pearl earring is the picture's focal point, as the girl's plain face is caught as though this pearl earring had caught the eye.
So interesting how, like, these beautiful paintings, these iconic, like the Mona Lisa and stuff, they're actually very small. Mona Lisa's like that. It's very small. And like the Mona Lisa will be on the wall like this in the Louvre. And then everyone's all taking a picture of it. And then like you turn around and there's this iconic mural of this Renaissance scene of the Last Supper with all this activity going on. And then Jesus is in the middle of it.
Long before,
to me, that's more impressive than the Mona Lisa, even though Mona Lisa is cool.
She'd been made into a movie. The eponymous pearl earring is the picture's focal point, as the girl's plain face is caught as though unprepared. It's provocative voyeurism that has had many of viewers speculate on the subject's thoughts and her backstory.
What's up, Godheart?
Number 7, Olympia, Edouard Manet.
Back to that. What do you guys think about the girl in the pearl earring? It's very mysterious painting. Always that forehead, though. That was a thing in the Renaissance, right? Or around that time where the women look like they shave their eyebrows sometimes or put makeup on them.
Her backstory. Number 7, Olympia, Edouard Manet. Heading into the 19th century for our next painting, Olympia caused massive controversy upon its completion in 1863. A reworking of Titian's 1538 Venus of Urbino, and
the women back then were, the models were a little considered, I guess, now chubby, even though this is normal, right? A normal look healthy depiction of a human, especially a woman. A woman has more mass around their thighs and and their tummy. Yeah.
Giorgione's 1510 Sleeping Venus, Manet's relaxing nude is less innocent than her predecessors. The woman displays indicators of prostitution and a confrontational gaze that shocked her audiences. The black hair, black cat, unwanted flowers, and loosely worn slippers show us that she's a woman in control of herself.
Yeah, she don't need those flowers.
The closed hands and abrupt stare warn us to remember that fact. Number 6, the birth.
This is epic right here. And if you look, it's kind of like this picture is the Our Lady of Guadalupe, the Mexican Mary. It's kind of reminds me of this. Was inspired by this painting
of Venus, Sandro Botticelli. Painted.
That's trippy right there, man.
In the 1400s, this Uffizi Gallery offering remains one of Florence's most treasured possessions. Commissioned by the Medici family to work on the birth of Venus.
And Medici family is the one that used to also employ Niccolo Machiavelli, right? The prince who some of us are highly influenced by.
Botticelli depicts the goddess emerging out of the sea, standing upon an improbably large shell. She's nude as we see her, but a handmaid is soon to clothe and cover her.
The Adventure of Baron Munchausen. I remember that movie. It's epic.
A beautiful figure, The artist presents her as an icon of Neoplatonism, a movement attempting to connect Greek and Roman thought with Christianity. Venus is a concoction of classical influences that has made its way into modern culture on more than one occasion.
Where's my Venus archetypes in the chat? Huh? This is even more epic and ooh, Venus to Milo. So you've seen it? Okay. Oh man, lucky. I'm happy for you.
Mama, what's the matter?
Ain't you never seen a naked chick riding a clam before?
Number 5, The Scream, Edvard Munch.
This is very. I think was made in a mental institution.
Often considered a masterpiece of modern art, The Scream was a forerunner of the expressionism that dominated the early 20th century. Painted in 1893, it reflects the end of photorealistic, technical efforts and the beginning of metaphoric, emotional pieces. The inspiration for the ghostly figure is not conclusively known, but the pain, fear, and horror that it feels are definitely felt. In fact, the form is so mesmerizing.
Ahimsa, if you like to come up, there's about 8 more minutes left on this video right here. This art.
It inspired several pop culture imitators. The wispy subject looks trapped inside the painting, definitely felt. In fact, the form is so mesmerizing, it
Wow, that is the Scream mask. Very iconic on another level.
inspired several pop culture imitators.
That too. That's another resonator right there of it.
The wispy subject looks trapped inside the painting and inside our world. The original picture that spoke louder than words. Number 4, Guernica, Pablo Picasso.
Pablo Picasso. You got a lot of inspiration from African masks as well.
Finished in 1937, with our next painting, Picasso brought to the world's attention the bombing of the Basque town of Guernica and
Basque, that's where my family's from, on my mom's side.
the ongoing Spanish Civil War, an act of war inflicted by the emerging fascist forces of Germany and Italy. The typically
Well, she came up here fast, boy. What's up? You got inspired by the art. How's it going, my friend?
Good.
Yeah.
I love art.
Yeah, it's amazing, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, why do you love it?
My mom used to drag us to art museums all the time when I was growing up.
Lucky.
So yeah, big fan of the arts.
Yeah.
I was at it was before we had all this. This is dating how old I am, but it was Salvador Dali's 88th birthday, and it was televised from Florida's museum to where he was in Spain right before he died. So I remember that as a kid, and I've always loved art. So
Yeah. And 88's a very significant number, especially in Japanese culture, because you got the double affinity.
Ooh,
You know, the eights if you turn them over.
Yeah.
Like they have a bigger party for your 88th birthday than your 100th birthday.
Didn't
Look at
know
that. That's a big deal. Yes, Dali's amazing. The surrealists.
yeah.
It's amazing.
I
yeah.
loved Florence too, just visiting that and seeing Michelangelo everywhere, and just the Uffizi is amazing museum. I haven't been to Paris, but
Yeah, I've been to Paris and it's beautiful, the history and all that, and it's refined. But I don't know. I would think that maybe I'm romanticizing that Italy and Florence and all that would be even more like the passion. It would just be
oh yeah.
you can just feel it, right?
You're walking
You
down
just feel
any given street in Rome, and then you just look over and there's just like a little alcove and just this hidden gem everywhere. It's just like in seeing the De Medici, like you mentioned the De Medicis earlier, just seeing that in Florence of Lorenzo de Medici on his horse, and it's in bronze and it's been weathered with a green tint to it, and it's in all the history books. I was like, oh my God, it's here, This family, sponsored so much art. I loved it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to the Medici. Yeah, he's born 88. That's righteous, right? You said Marcella says, I hear Paris is filthy. I mean, the parts I saw wasn't filthy. They do have some crazy stuff going on there in terms of immigration. and stuff like that. But yeah, Paris was cool. It was one of the best times I ever had when I went there. Let me see what else do we got here. So we're going on Picasso.
I like him.
He's great. Yeah.
Picasso piece shows devastation and destruction in an abstracted way. Guernica is gray, black, and white. It's mural size, and it is intensely dramatic.
Now, now, can you tell us why do you think he uses these big heads and a lot of his work, and because it's very different than other arts I've seen.
Yeah, the
His style.
surrealism. I don't.
Yeah.
I haven't studied Picasso like I did Dali, but I know
Mhm.
like insofar as the surrealist movement that came kind of after the Cubist movement with Matisse and
Mhm.
everything, which came after the Impressionists. It's kind of art reflects reality, but then also
Mhm.
it impresses upon reality. So you're dealing with a lot of psychology coming to the surface. You're dealing with war and all of these things. So all the soft, sweet parts of the Impressionism was giving way to like a new era, kind of like the Heart of Darkness was the writing at the time, and little dystopian precursors. So they were reflecting in their art kind of the cultural things that were shifting with regards to how we analyze the human mind, the human concept, the
Mhm.
experience. So that's my take on it. And I would guess that he painted the faces so big because it's just putting the ego, the id into everything. You know how like we
Mhm.
couldn't help. But before, you know, people weren't looking to be self-actualized. They were just looking to survive. And so
Mm.
it wasn't so much psychology that we deal with me, me, me. Like it kind of like what
Yeah.
we talked about with Western versus the Vedic astrology. To me, the Western astrology focuses very much on the individual, the personality, which is
Uh-huh.
important, but then in the Vedic it's more of the soul's transformation and stuff like that. It's deeper. It's a little I don't want to say it's deeper, it's different what you're looking for. So in the Western culture, we focus so much on self, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I think
It
that's where
would
the surrealist is
would
going.
you would you think then oh yeah, so would you say then the Vedic astrology is more in the realism, impressionism, or then if we're using that metaphor, and then this surrealism is more would be like the Western astrology sense if we're using that,
That's a good
you know?
question. Yeah, I mean, I think surrealism tries to grapple with the dysfunctions that we have in like Jung's subconscious, and I
Mhm.
believe that they both offer parts of illumination towards that, you know, the soul's path and the ego's path. So I think they're
Mhm.
both important. It's kind of like Eastern and
Yes.
Western man, you know.
Right.
There's like more homicide in Western man, and there's more like unaliving yourself because I can't use the other word in
Mhm.
Eastern cultures historically. So it's a difference of how they
No, even
manifest.
even now, like there's kids that unalive themselves. They get bullied by their parents about their studies, and they jump out their window of their apartment. That happens like way more than it should. It should never happen, but like I hear these stories like a couple times a month here in
Oh,
Taiwan and in Singapore.
wow. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know in Japan, I think it's Japan, or there's like a forest just for going in there
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Logan Paul went there and he tried to
Yes,
film it and
yes,
make a
yeah.
joke about it, and
Yeah,
that
my
didn't go over
kids
too
told
well.
me about that.
Yeah,
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 it's sad, but I
yeah.
mean, homicide is as well, so
Yes, it is.
one one
Some
looks
interpretations
externally. Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
once it
Yeah.
turned outward, huh? Homicide is the rage turned outward, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Whereas the
yeah.
unaliving is the rage turned inward. But
Inward.
both are important to grapple with, which I
Yeah.
like artists because they grapple with these difficult topics.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to bridge the Scorpio energy in terms of about how using the pain and the trauma to tap into something, you
Yeah.
know, and yeah, at least getting it out in a more positive way than hurting
Yeah.
yourself or other people.
Find Picasso's own ego in the disfigured creatures.
Look at that Scorpio stare. That's a Scorpio
Some
stare. Look
interpretations
at that.
find Picasso's own ego in the disfigured creatures. Others note the horse and bull as important Spanish symbols, while still others view
Bull,
simply the
horse.
rampaging rise of Nazism. Number 3, The Last Supper.
Oh yeah. Where is this located?
Uh,
You know, I, I don't
It
think
is
it's in
in
the
a
Louvre.
church. No, it's in a church building, I believe, because you see that part of the table on the bottom where there's like a little curve on in the middle, the very middle on the bottom. There's a curve right
hmm
there. That's a
hmm
door frame. I haven't been there, but
Oh,
that's they cut
it's
it
over
out
the
for the
door.
door. Yes, it's a door frame too. Like I believe in some church, it's kind of hidden away. I
Okay.
didn't see this one in person. I saw his Sistine. No, this is Da
Yeah.
Vinci.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, he's a
Look at the.
Taurus.
He's a Taurus. Wow, it makes
Uh-huh.
sense. So he's so epic at producing so many things. Because when I think of Taurus, I think of the producer of the zodiac, among other things. Like when they get in their zone, they're nonstop of producing. Did you have you seen those breakdowns of like how each disciple represents a sign of the zodiac?
Well,
Each,
yes, and
yeah.
also when you take the layers, they've discovered recently there's layers underneath his this particular painting of Da Vinci's Last Supper. There's a whole lot more beneath the surface that he painted over as hidden
Hmm.
symbols and such like that. But the Taurus Scorpio axis, they're very similar because you'll see Dali is a Taurus and
hmm
Picasso is the Scorpio, but there's similar themes like Freud was a Taurus, so he's got the fixation with sex, all
The
the
sensual,
time.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yes. So they're very axis oriented, but with
hmm
this one, the 12 are associated with like the 12 tribes of Israel, the
That
12
yes.
the 12 the Greeks also had the 12
The
sons of
pantheon.
the yes, thank you, the pantheon. So there's the theme of 12 throughout his
hmm
history with like that. So yeah, I believe that when you look even inside the Catholic Church with the book that they read, the liturgy from the Gospels, that
Uh-huh.
has a symbol on it of the first one is up in the left-hand corner of the book is a ox, and then after
Yes,
that
you're
is
right.
a lion, and then after that on
Yes.
the bottom is the
The eagle
eagle,
or
which is
something.
the
Yeah.
Scorpio, and then you
hmm
have the human, which is the water bearer. So you see the fixed signs
Mm,
there. And it's very
Jesus.
similar in Buddhism, where you'll see the same four symbols of the fixed signs, because
hmm
those are the
The
ones that
foundation.
stabilize things. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But yeah.
Wow.
But when you
Wow.
look at like the Gospel of Matthew, that's the ox. And then when you look at the
Uh-huh.
Gospel of Mark, when you see in St. Mark's Square up in Venice, it's the
hmm
lion, which is Leo. And then you see what is the next one?
The
Matthew,
eagle.
Mark, Luke is the
John.
eagle.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
Luke.
And
Yeah, yeah.
that's and then John is the human, the water bearer. So yeah,
That makes
I
sense
see
because
that.
John and bringing in the age of the knowing. Yeah, that's woo.
Yeah,
This is
because
why
also the books correspond to the people they're written from. Like the
uh-huh.
Gospel of Matthew has the genealogy of Jesus that was written for the Jews, and then the
Uh,
book of the Gospel of Mark was written for the Romans. So it's like the Leo concept, the warrior concept, and then the next one, Mark was written for, I believe, the Gentiles, and then John was for the whole world. So it's got the themes of those
mm,
fixed signs as well, what they mean when you start diving really deep into it. But astrology was never really banned until like the 1800s. So it's been in
really?
there. Yeah, within
Yeah.
regards to religion and the church and stuff.
Yeah,
That
when you
they
do that, this makes it so much more alive for me. I'm
mm.
proud to be, raised a Catholic and all that. Like when you know the
uh,
context that you're sharing, that we're talking about.
oh,
Yeah,
thanks. I
yeah.
love studying stuff and just anthropology, theology, the arts,
hmm
philosophy. It's just fun. I mean, it's just something I do.
Humanities, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's cool topic.
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but yeah.
No, no, you're great. This is awesome. Good builds. Add-ons. Peter's an Aries, the Lady Luck says. Okay, I could see that. The way Peter's from what I remember, the things that he
Oh,
did in the gospels. I could see him being an Aries. Yeah.
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 I haven't really looked at that. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Oh, the way he took off the ear too.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vinci. In terms of fame, our third placer has again been recently aided by other media, namely Dan Brown's novel The Da Vinci Code and the subsequent Tom Hanks film adaptation.
I got a student her name is Grace. Interesting enough, she's really into she's cool because she likes Western things more than a lot of the other kids. And she she likes hip hop and Tupac, but she got so excited because she recently discovered Dan Brown's writing. I think she's like an 8th grader or 9th grader. So she read the Da Vinci Code, and I think she's reading Angels and Demons. And I think that's interesting, especially if you've never been really introduced to some of the metaphysics and the occults and stuff. To get
I read that when I was, I think, pregnant with my first one and my first child, and I thought it was a horrible book because
sure.
it was really, to me, it wasn't very well written. But in actuality, I had read a book in college called Holy Blood, Holy Grail,
Yeah, I
which
read that one.
it stole, like, that book. I thought they should have won the lawsuit of him taking so much of the material from that book.
Yeah.
And his writing is so, it drove me
It's
crazy
kind of
reading it.
jumbled, right?
It's simplistic. It's written very, I mean, Harry Potter was more complicated to read. I felt like she was a better writer insofar as writing goes, but at the
Yeah.
same time, that book gained in popularity because Opus Dei was the organization within
Opus Dei.
Catholicism that was being
pushing
targeted by the Clintons. Like, she made the book popular by reading it. Hillary did at one point, and so there was a quiet war going on beneath the surface that nobody knew on the financial front with the Vatican Bank. And so that's what that whole, like, popularity, in my opinion, on the political sphere made it to mainstream. But I didn't like the book that much. I thought it was just kind of lame. But
No,
yeah.
I know I got that feeling too because I never really read all of it because it was lame. But I'm saying that in terms of introducing someone that's
Yeah.
never heard of like occult stuff and all that, like it's cool. But then that now it's a good to say, hey, if you like that book, maybe you should read the Holy Grail one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I thought that
it's a
was
good,
way more
much
interesting.
better.
Oh,
Yeah.
it scared me. It was like, wow, I had a hard time. It was almost like reading a serial killer novel or something because that was
Wait,
just so, like, horrifying.
here's the
The holy.
question.
Mhm.
Ahimsa, do you think if you're pregnant reading that book, it would have affected your baby?
Which one? The Holy Blood,
the
Holy.
scary one, yeah.
Ah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. That might have, yeah.
Yeah. Cause think about my mom when she was pregnant with me. She told me that she went to go see Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh my goodness.
Like she was like 7 months pregnant or something, and she said that she went to
That's
use the restroom during the bathroom. And check this out: that she went in the stall. She went in the stall to use the bathroom, and you know people write on the wall and stuff.
Uh-huh.
You know what it said?
No.
It said "Helter Skelter's going down."
Oh my gosh. She had to be, like, freaking out.
And I think
Oh
to
my
this day, I'm kind
gosh.
of obsessed with the Manson family.
Oh,
Not that I want to be like
yeah.
them, but
No, I
I'm
was
always
too
been
for a while. Yeah.
very. It attracts me that the story and whatnot, and maybe I got
Yeah.
programmed. And I love Chainsaw Massacre. That
Yeah,
movie,
Helter
yeah, but
Skelter was one of the first one I read. Like, my stepdad gave it to me when I was 13.
your
And then
stepdad,
yeah, because he had it on the bookshelf. He was an avid reader.
yeah,
But yeah, he gave it. He's like, oh, if you like the mafia stories, you'll like this one. Because I read one on Sam Giancana. But yeah, and then he had an actual, I don't know if you know this, Charles Manson had an actual CD that he put out, like, of music. And
oh yeah,
when
Mhm.
I found that CD, like, in the mid-90s, I ordered it. I was like,
You
I gotta
ordered
hear
it?
this. Yeah, I totally did.
Is he
I was like,
singing on it?
yeah, it's horrible. I understand. He tried out for the Monkees in Mike
Oh
Nesbitt's
my
place.
god!
Yeah,
Oh my
I
god!
met I
I
met them at one point. They were cool, but I was like so glad he
I
didn't
grew up with
make
the
it.
Monkeys, the reruns. Like
Yeah,
every
yeah,
year
that
on a
was
channel 20 in San Francisco, they have a marathon, the Monkeys marathon. Yeah.
that's
Um,
cool.
you know, the Charles Masker. There's another thing that he used to hang out with one of the Beach Boys,
That's
and
who yeah.
yeah, and he was
That's
trying.
who
He wrote a song called "Never." Uh, no, cease to exist. And then they
Yes.
bought it. They bought it,
Oh
and
my gosh.
and listen to this: 33 years to the day. before 9/11 is when they published this. They changed the song to never learn not how to wait never learn how to love or something like that. But it was 33 years before 9/11, a mega ritual.
Wow. That's freaky.
Yeah, but
Didn't know
yeah,
that
man,
one.
all that stuff is there's something about the 70s, huh? That's like the golden era of a lot of interesting things. Maybe it's the number 7 being like so special, in
Oh,
a
you
lot of ways.
think? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, it was freaky.
it's freaky. But
Freaky,
but we
freaky.
don't but we don't but we don't co-sign for Dan Brown. My grandma liked it. Like I'm happy that she
Yeah,
was reading. She's like,
it
"Hey,
was.
Gabriel, I got this new book." I'm like, "Okay, cool, Nani. You're learning about some occult stuff. Very
Yeah, and
cool."
I like art history. I mean, I like it when people
Yeah.
like wanna, because I think Da Vinci is one people definitely can dive deep into. I was
Uh-huh.
saying, they did some X-rays recently to find out there's deeper art beneath this particular painting we're covering right now with the Last Supper that
Yeah.
is just so. I mean, he was creating
Underneath it, you said, huh?
yeah, like helicopters and airplanes
Yeah,
long
that's right.
before the Wright brothers
That's
ever
right.
came on the scene. So he was
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
They looks at you knew that. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, let's get back on it.
Aided by other media, namely Dan Brown's novel The Da Vinci Code and the subsequent Tom Hanks film adaptation.
If the book was bad, the movie must have been horrible then, huh?
I only
Right
watched
there.
a little.
Yeah.
But they're all men.
Are they?
I can't watch that or National Treasures with Nick Cage. Like it just really throws it just throws a wrench into my whole conspiracy chamber about things.
What about that figure on the right hand of our Lord, seated in the place of honor?
But that's hardly the end of this famous piece's pop culture domination. Many
Oh, did you see that?
What's that?
MASH? Look at MASH did it. Look.
But that's hardly the end.
The Last Supper. MASH the
Oh, yeah.
movie. Wow, look at that.
Uh-huh.
That's cool, huh? With
Yeah.
the isn't that a Templar cross basically right there?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
an
yeah, right
interesting
there.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of this famous piece's pop culture domination. Many scenes from movies and TV.
Ooh, I love this movie. The Watchmen. The Watchmen, have you seen it? It's
Why
really
does
good.
that sound familiar?
It was a graphic novel made by a chaos magician. It's really good. It's like they watch the superheroes, the Watchers, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I did see that
Yeah.
one. That was good.
Yeah.
Have replicated the iconic arrangement. Da Vinci's depiction
Okay, even South Park, of course.
of Jesus and his disciples is perhaps the most recognizable recreation of the Son of God ever painted. Capturing the moment at which Jesus tells his followers that one will betray him and the alarm that ensues, it's a painting that has fallen in and out of disrepair. And
Which one's the Scorpio? I heard Judas, I've heard other people.
That's a really great question. I kind of think of John the Beloved to a certain extent because he was the only one that was not martyred. He was actually supposedly assumed into heaven as well. And he
Mhm.
went to the island of Patmos and wrote the book of Revelation, which I find to
Ooh.
be a very Scorpio
Ooh.
themed book because
Yeah.
it's got
Yeah.
so many symbols and so much
Mhm.
layered writing about
Mhm.
the times that were going on. So I just always felt like he resonated the most with kind of the eagle, phoenix rising, all of that, even overcoming death because he was supposedly the only one not martyred. So
I like
I
that
don't know. I
interpretation.
always felt like that. That's just my
Yeah.
interpretation, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of Pisces as Judas. I've heard that one too, but I like about the John the Revelator. No, is he John the Revelator? That's what they called him that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He wrote the book of Revelation on the island of Patmos in Greece when he was like kind of exiled, I believe. And
Yeah,
so
he was.
yeah. I always thought of
Yeah.
Judas as more like a little bit Gemini energy because I felt like he wanted
Back and forth.
to free himself, like when he sold him out,
Mhm.
but according to the stories, I felt like he wanted Jesus to play like a trick and show everyone his illumination. stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that strikes me as a very mercutial thing to do, like tricksy, and so I kind of,
Yeah, the
but
trickster. Yeah,
then he was devastated when it didn't work out the way he thought, and that
and he unalived himself.
yeah, and that's
Yeah,
that yeah, he felt like he betrayed his friend, and so
yeah,
that always struck me as Mercutio, kind of like in Romeo and Juliet, Mercutio's friend, who
yeah. We
also
read that last
dies.
year in class. That's
Yeah,
a
it's a
really
good
good,
one.
very good book. Yeah, and I was raised on watching Jesus Christ Superstar. That was
Oh
heavily
yeah.
played in my house growing
Mhm.
up. Yeah, yeah.
And inspired plenty of conspiracy theories. An epic piece of art.
Who is she?
My dear, that's Mary Magdalene.
The prostitute?
She was no such thing.
Okay, Gandalf.
Smeared by the church in 591 Anno Domino, poor dear.
Number 2.
We'll have to go back to that. That's another interesting story. Where did Jesus go? Did he go to India? Did he go to Tibet? That's fascinating. Yeah.
Thomas went to India.
Oh, he did?
Thomas. Yeah. That's where,
Wow.
like, yeah, he went to India. And so that's where I get into it, like with people who are super hardline. They're like, you can't do yoga. And I was like, I'm pretty sure they all did yoga out there,
Yeah, I
But
think they did.
you're going on
Guangdong is Scorpio.
to Van Gogh. He's an
Yeah.
Aries.
The
Oh, he
Starry
was?
Night.
Yes.
Interesting.
Vincent van Gogh.
Intense.
Another painting that is broken out of its original frame and into the merchandise-laden world of reproduction.
It kind of looks like the Scream to me.
This Van Gogh image stands alongside Munch's The Scream as an
There you go.
all-out game changer. The viewer cannot help but become involved with the swirling, circling clouds, moon, and stars of the night sky. In turn, it's easy to place oneself in the village below. Painted from within the Saint Paul de Mausole lunatic asylum in southern France, it's an
Oh,
exaggerated
he was also in the lunatic asylum.
scene, but
Yeah, but I think like part of that is, when we look back historically, remember he cut off his ear.
His ear, yes.
Yes. And I think what happened why he was in the lunatic asylum and why he cut off his ear is I think he had some kind of vertigo, some inner ear problems, which causes people to
Oh.
it can drive you insane.
Yeah, you want to just get rid of it, right? So let's say
Yeah, 'cause
I'm
if you don't have
desperate.
balance, it could affect your
cut my ear off.
balance. That's what I felt like he
Mhm.
was doing and why he ended up in the asylum. It made sense.
They made it sound
now.
like it for a woman. Like he did it for a
Yeah.
woman or something like that. But that makes
A
more
beautiful
sense.
one.
Like you can't because
Yeah.
when you had a problem going on in your teeth or your head, there's
Oh
no
yeah,
getting
that's an
there's no,
Aries thing. Aries rules the head.
the head.
If you think
That's
about
right.
that, yeah.
You're right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
except no imitations. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a
That's a great pick. I think that's in the Louvre.
few honorable mentions.
Yeah. Epic. Oh yeah, American Gothic. That's a good one. Yeah.
That one.
Is that in a? Do you know where that is?
Mm-mm. No, I don't
What do
actually.
you? Is it Capricorn archetype?
Yeah, it does
At
seem
least.
like that. Good call. Yeah,
Yeah.
very regular farm workers. The normal
Mhm.
workers are Capricorn and some Aquarian type energy. It's a
Mhm.
very Saturnian energy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now Pollock, are we talking outer planets here, like Aquarian?
Jackson Pollock, yeah, he's definitely Aquarius type and
Yeah.
yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
He's
Game
wild.
changer. Game
Yeah.
changer. Oh, Rembrandt. I love the the realism, like with
Mhm.
stuff. Yeah. He's a Dutch master. Oh yeah, this is a good one too, right here. Yeah, Raphael.
Oh, Raphael, yeah.
This
I
is
like
amazing.
Dürer
That-
too. I don't know if you know
Dürer,
him.
yeah.
He's a Dutch one. I love his woodwork. The woodwork carvings are
Mhm.
amazing. And
Yeah.
not Gecko. Guy
Geoff.
Greco? Oh, Greco.
Greco.
Is it-
Okay,
Yeah,
sounds
he's another one.
familiar. Yeah, I like a Caravaggio. His realism. too.
Yeah, he's good.
Water lilies. It is impressionist. Monet.
Yeah, Monet.
Yeah. He has a museum kind of by the Louvre.
Number 1.
And you can see the ponds where he got its inspiration.
The Mona Lisa, Leonardo da Vinci.
Go back to this real quick.
Leonardo da Vinci.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's very enigmatic, very interesting.
Yeah. Why is it so much hype around it?
Oh, the way that he paints her smile in her eyes. I guess when you're there, it looks like
Mysterious?
her eyes are following.
Following
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
It
And
looks like
back
it right now as I'm looking at it.
yeah, it's a very enigmatic photo of, it captures the essence of the feminine, which
Mhm.
is kind of like a it doesn't you can't fully capture the feminine. It is mysterious, it's ever moving. It's not
Ephemeral?
yeah, it's not meant to be captured or, claimed, I guess you would say,
Mhm.
because it's constantly generative and changing the nature. It's like water. And so
Yeah.
he tried to capture it, and because it's so enigmatic and mysterious is why I think it's so popular, is because it's the
Yeah.
muse,
The muse, yeah. This is the first time I ever like looked at the background. That's kind of mysterious too. That
Mhm.
landscape back there. Yeah.
And kinda smoky.
Could the gold medal
Oh,
truly be hung around anyone else's neck? Mona Lisa is the most famous painting in the world, and she's one of the most recognizable women on the planet. Another Da Vinci piece, this time the great Italian gives us a portrait, the subject of which remains under considerable debate. She's an object of extreme fascination because of her inescapable stare, her unreadable expression, and her incredible detail.
People think that was him or something. I heard that was a weird
Well,
theory.
that's something I was just thinking of, like, as we're watching this, that I don't know if a lot of people know with art history, and what I remember reading the Agony and the Ecstasy about Michelangelo is that they were not allowed to use, any female nude bodies, as so far as their art. So what
Mhm.
these artists like Michelangelo and Da Vinci would have to do is to go into the morgue, and then
Oh
they would
yeah.
they would
Uh-huh.
look at the muscles inside the morgue of the
Yeah.
cadavers and
Right.
use those as a basis for how they would, shape the muscles and all of
Yeah.
that. And so that's why you'll see like a lot of artists in the Renaissance era where the women seem to have masculine arms. It's because they weren't
Yeah.
allowed to use them
I see. As
as
models.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. That makes sense.
So
We saw those naked women with the during the Venus one segment,
mhm.
and a lot of them, yeah, a lot of them were look very kind of masculine or just more heftier
Yeah, because
than
I
women.
think
Yeah,
even in the morgue, I don't know if they were allowed to touch the women's bodies,
yeah.
if that
Are
makes
you
sense.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. Are you familiar with Alex Gray, the psychedelic artist?
Mm-mm. No.
He's very iconic psychedelic artist, and that's how he got his start. He worked in a morgue. He worked at a
Mm.
funeral home, and he was an artist at the
Mhm.
art, at the art university studying art, and he would study the bodies, and he got his anatomy down.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, super cool. Real quick, I'll show you real quick. Alex Gray,
Oh, good.
real quick. His art is amazing. Tool used a lot of his art on their album covers and stuff like this. Like
Oh,
you can tell
yeah.
he's studied anatomy, huh? The way the way he did this.
Which one? I'm not seeing it.
This is like when you combine anatomy with LSD, I guess, and DMT. Yeah, yeah.
Is it up?
Just like, oh, you can't
Oh,
see
okay.
it. Oh, I thought you could see it. My
No,
bad.
can't see
Okay,
it.
okay. Here we go. Let me put it up real quick. Okay, here we go.
Oh, trippy. Yeah.
You see that?
Oh, I have seen him. Yeah. Okay, I know who
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
yeah. Like that, like the physiology and the anatomy That's
Yeah.
very detailed, very detailed right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I did see him somewhere. Like his art is in some museum.
yeah. There's a hall. There's something called the Hall of Mirrors that he has in New York. But I'm sure you've seen
Okay.
it in other places.
Yeah,
Maybe,
Chicago or New
yeah,
York, one of
yeah,
those museums. It looks very
yeah,
familiar. Hmm.
yeah. He always has the eyes everywhere too. With a lot of it says
Yeah,
king.
yeah. I like that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
I like the Machine Lies art. He's got Geiger, Agent
Geiger, yeah,
Geiger.
he's great too.
Yeah, he's cool
He's
with the
really good too.
alien. Yeah.
This one's cool right here. Yeah, I love Alex Gray's
Yeah.
work. It's pretty
Yeah,
sick.
I've seen him. I like his stuff too.
Yeah. What's up, Browns boy? Good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, so we're using the Scorpio as a teaching tool, which I'm going to go through all the signs and see, how we can relate it to things that are going on now and stuff. So
I
been
don't
having fun with
actually
this.
think of Scorpio insofar as like arts because
Mm-hmm.
Venus technically rules, like Venus de Milo, rules historically over arts and artisans
Yeah, for sure.
like that.
Yes.
But
That's why Taurus and Libras are so good with that.
yeah, I think of Scorpio with they definitely can be artists, any creative type can. I think
Yeah.
of them as sometimes the biggest because it's ruled by Mars and Vedic
Mm-hmm.
and historically is the best war generals and some of the best politicians on the battlefield because they
Oh
think
yeah.
strategically. They know how to
Mm-hmm.
maneuver things and make things move in ways that nobody would, like Sun Tzu's Art of War reminds me of a Scorpio book. I'm like, wow.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying in the segment too about Scorpio energy in business. Like I was calling it the strategist power move
Yeah.
because Scorpios good. They're also good at business too because studying the markets and reading people's motives and playing the long game. Those are
Yeah.
definitely Scorpio things. But yeah, so my thing is that you're right. Traditionally, we see Venus and Libra and Taurus as the artists. However, like anybody, all these signs. Well, this me saying this is like this is Scorpio doing art,
Mhm.
type of stuff. That's what this is my take on it, and how we
Yeah.
would use our pain and our wounds a lot of
Mhm.
times to show you like our creative side, right?
Yeah.
So we can get really deep about into things. So yeah, this is what we're trying to convey here. Yeah.
And some of the best actors as well are and that's theatrical arts, dramatic arts. They are a lot of them have been Scorpios. Like
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey, he's
historically.
pretty good.
Oh, I
He's a
love
Scorpio.
all right. Yeah.
Right, all right, all right. Yeah, he can do that, but he can also do the very deep, like in a True Detective.
Mhm.
Like he can like just let it all out. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got one of my favorite quotes was his hero is always himself in 10 years. Like he's always running against himself and who he's going to be in 10 years. And he's never going to
Mm,
catch up. And I'm like, I like that. I like that.
yeah.
Compete against yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the main op right there that makes you
Mhm.
stronger. Because
Yeah.
when you do that, like you're always trying to get better. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing what I like about because my son he does sports that are like individual, like like swimming and triathlon and in martial arts, whereas I was always team sports. When you do the individual sports, it's kind of like you're really competing against yourself,
Yeah.
to try to get better, right?
Yeah, I did both. I did track in middle school and then I did volleyball in high school. Tried basketball, but almost got blinded. So,
Was you hit in the
but yeah.
face
I got
with a ball
elbowed
in
by
the
my
eye?
teammate when we were practicing. I couldn't see for 5 minutes. I was like, not my sport. But they went to state that year, so it wasn't the best year to start off with a team. I mean, it
Yeah,
was, but it
that's a
wasn't.
good team.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
a good
great
team.
team.
Yeah.
But when you're first learning it, it's like, whoa, I am way behind here.
Yeah, it's a really
Yeah,
good team.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think we should do. I'm going to do this
Mhm.
art again because it's very inspiring. to
Yeah,
hear all
absolutely.
the context behind it, and yeah,
Yeah,
relating it to
I
what we
love
know.
arts. Yeah,
Yeah,
of writing,
yeah,
music
yeah,
as
because
well.
because in a sense, this when you look at out in your reality, it's a canvas, you know.
Hmm.
And if you and it's very interesting how an artist sees the world, you know, when they look at something, because when they look at something, especially like an oil painter, for example, or like they don't maybe look at it as someone who doesn't paint. Maybe they look at it
Hmm.
and block color at first, and then they zoom in on, you know, whatever they're looking at. Because like I told this story the other day, like watching like my teacher in college, he was like a master painter, and
Hmm.
when he does when he does a portrait of somebody, it looks like crap at first. But
Hmm.
the more he, like, you know, he defines the shapes and details things and takes things out and adds things, it's like, oh my god, it looks like a portrait by the end of it.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
just fascinating because my mind on default doesn't really work like that. So I respect it, like when you know, when these artists do what they do.
Oh,
Oh,
visual artists? Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. One of
Hmm.
my good friends is a art instructor, so she's done, yeah, she's really good. And
Yeah.
I'm not good at the visual arts. I do writing and poetry, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love all arts.
Yeah. The writing and poetry is great too, because there was a time where I was really involved in, like, really interested in narrative theory, about like how
Hmm.
our lives is like a constant narrative unfolding. You know,
Hmm.
this continuous story that's going on,
Hmm.
and and the ones that can express it are the ones who are the good writers and poets. Yeah, so
Yeah,
hats off to them. Yeah,
I like words. Yeah, I've won
yeah.
a few small contests, but nothing big. But I like the power of words and
Hmm.
inflecting and the rhythm, like
Hmm.
music, you know. But
Yeah, music
yeah,
too. Yeah, we
you
were
could get
talking
into
about
some really good
cleats.
music. Huh? What's that?
We were talking about John Cleats earlier. Cleats, is that his name? The poet.
Oh,
Was it Cleats?
Keats.
Keats. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
we were
Uh-huh.
talking about that when we were talking about love couples, the top love couples earlier. Power,
Oh
like in
yeah,
him and his relationship with his young girlfriend, because he died pretty young, and some of his
yeah,
best works were his poetry to his lover.
yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
I always liked Percy Shelley and Mary Shelley. You know, Frankenstein, and
Frankenstein. Yeah,
yeah, I like
yeah.
their love story too. It
Yeah.
was wild. I
Oh,
mean,
I
it
forgot
was
about
different
that one.
times.
That's
Yeah,
a good one.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, but music is the key. That's the one art that transcends big time in terms of time traveling, for example.
Yeah,
I
I
love
love
music.
how Mozart, you know, when you listen, no, is it Mozart? Yeah, Mozart, where if you listen to Mozart for a good 5 minutes before you go in and take a test, it
Mhm.
changes it changes the neural pathways of the brain so that you're more of a conduit, you know, of whatever information you're holding in your brain.
Mhm.
And it can just the effect it has on the brain is just to open it up so that it works more if it like when people take tests, they clam up and they think, "Oh, I'm not a good test taker," and so they forget everything, you know? But if you
Right.
listen to Mozart, the way that the rhythms of the music that he's created affects the neural pathways of the brains, your first, like, 5 to 10 minutes of the test are optimal. It's amazing, you
It-
know? Mhm. Mm.
The the beauty of it too is that, like, it's now all this stuff is free domain. I love it,
Mhm.
like the classical music. So yeah, I can listen
Yeah.
to that all day. Yeah. You said your
Yeah.
dog, Layla says your dogs love music too. Yeah, that's pretty
Mm.
special. Does your cat love music?
My cat?
Yeah, is your
Uh
cat or different?
Prob Probably my dog would like it more. And my
Yeah.
dogs, they're just the cats are indifferent to everything.
Yeah.
Unless
No,
I'm talking.
we may think that they're indifferent, but who knows? They might have this inner world. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, this one's coming up. I think you were partly inspired inspired this upcoming broadcast. This one about cats. I don't know if
Oh,
you saw
cool.
that. Yeah.
Well, thanks. Awesome.
So
Yeah, I like
that's gonna be
cats.
fun. That's
I
gonna
like
be on.
dogs too. Yeah.
Yeah. Next week, 7 days from now, this one will come up.
Cool.
Cats.
Well,
There we go.
thanks.
Yeah.
I like cats.
So hopefully you can tell me what you think about that one. And if you're free, it'd be great if you can come up.
Yeah, you know they used to hang cats in like Europe.
Hang them?
What?
What do you mean?
Oh yeah. I had some friends who are
The
from
witch
like
thing?
yes, exactly. They thought they were witches,
Uh,
so they would hang them by the tree. So when you go to the northern European countries, there's not a whole lot of cats
mhm.
around, because of the historical view
And the
of
hatred of them?
superstitions that they were
Yeah.
reincarnations of witches or something like that because their eyes, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
they've
I
heard the
found that
stories
out.
that they suck the breath out of children when they
Yeah,
sleep. There's all this stuff.
goofy
But yeah,
stuff.
cats are amazing. Like I don't even have cats, but I grew up with cats.
Yeah, they're pretty
But
cool.
they're really cool. Wait, how about this? When you went to Rome, did you go to the ruins? Because supposedly they
Oh
used to have a
yeah.
whole bunch of feral cats roaming
Yeah.
the ruins. I remember hearing stories about that in National
Yeah.
Geographic. Yeah,
Like old Rome? Yeah, that's true
old
actually.
Rome. Yeah,
Yeah,
hmm
yeah. They do
yeah.
have that.
So we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about cats, why we love our cats, the metaphysical psychic abilities, they're humans, and telepathic power.
Hemingway's cats? You've heard of Hemingway's cats?
No.
Ernest Hemingway. He lived in Key West, and there's still feral cats everywhere
Yeah.
there, and they have 6 toes. It's wild.
What?
Yeah, they're
Six
called
toes.
Hemingway cats, but
Uh,
I'll wait till next week. Sorry.
I have this affinity. I need to go to Key West. I I don't know what it is about it, but like I'm a very attracted to that area. Like maybe the eccentric nature and being by the water.
That's pretty wild.
I want to go there someday. Yeah.
Yeah, I went in college at spring break one time. Bought a shirt with like 21 bars on it and tried to get a drink at each one and play bar golf there. That was fun.
Well, would you get to 11 at least?
No,
That'd be
I got to
impressive.
I drink well, we are there for the whole weekend, so I hit them all except for the
Hit them
3
all?
that
Damn.
were on there that I mean, like one of them I had coffee at because it just shouldn't have been on the bar shirt. But yeah, that was cool. That was
That's cool.
yeah, it was
That's
pretty
cool.
cool. 2 of
Yeah.
them had closed though by the time that I was like, "Hey, it's on the shirt, but it's closed." It like went out of
Yeah.
business or something. But yeah, that place is cool.
Yeah. Matthew McConaughey has a movie called like Something Dog, where he plays this author that was from there. It's a true story.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we'll talk about all that stuff later. But Leopard Prince says, "What's up, Ahimsa?
Hey,
What's up,
Leopard.
Leopard? How's it going? Good to see you." Yeah. So we're I'm probably gonna get. I got my class. It's my Friday. I've got 2 more classes to teach on this Saturday. But I appreciate you coming up and
Oh yeah,
giving
definitely.
those great add-ons. Yeah.
Yeah, I love art.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. Well, I'll see you next week.
Well, all right, Oracle.
Okay,
Be well.
take care. You too.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great add-on right there, huh? Yeah. Yeah, Lady Luck, you're right. They did that like hanging cats, witchcraft, right? Yeah. Huh, we learned from our mistakes though, huh? So yeah, so that was it. So yeah, in terms of the art, real quick, I will say Ben, to tap into your Scorpio creativity, go into your pain and don't run from it. And it's okay to use taboo topics and unpopular truth, right? And this it could because one of your strengths is to be emotionally honest and let yourself transform through your work. Or art as therapy, art is something that is real. I have friends I went to school with, college with, that's their career of helping people transform their lives, and they're a psychologist and they use art, right, as their tool. And this is how you can go from just making things to creating legends and being a legend, man. Think about Frida. We talked about that. Nina Simone, Alan Watts, Tupac, man. These aren't all Scorpios, but they definitely have that Scorpio energy of transforming their pain into art, and all that raw, beautiful, unfiltered truth, right? And just to recap the Scorpio energy, and to make yourself a legend, these are all life codes that you can use now. Almost this is your Scorpio cheat code in love. When you get older, seek deep relationship depth, right? Not just drama, not drama. Don't accept that. And by doing this, you can probably create soul bonds, but not soul traps. And in business, Ben, be strategic and let intuition guide your influence. And in terms of creativity, transmute all that pain into power and make your scars into symbols. And if you feel stuck in life, chat and everyone else, Ben, ask yourself the ultimate Scorpion question. What needs to die in order for me to live better? Because the Scorpio superpower is not running from endings, because the endings become rebirths, right? I'm giving you guys a call to action. And if you got Scorpio in your chart, or you're just ready to tap into that Phoenix energy, drop a flame, a fire in the chat, and tell me, or ask yourself, what are you trying to transform right now? What else? What part of your life needs rebirth? And remember, the Scorpio energy isn't about destruction for fun. It's about burning down what's fake, so the real you can rise to the top. What's going on, Cynthia? How's it going? Good to see you. It's about burning down what's fake, so the real you can rise. And subscribe and hit the like button, and leave a donation, and tell your shadow self I said what's up. So next time, stay deep, stay focused, and stay fearless. NPC the game, peace, love, and transformation. Thanks everybody for being here. Remember, you're one in a million. It's up to you. You deserve the best.